This programme is brought to you in association with ABS Motorsport. Spectacular action last time out at Castle Combe. We now arrive in Lincolnshire and the equally spectacular and picturesque Cadwell Park. Leading the championship coming here is Scott Parkin from Simon Rudd and Gary Mitchell. But we've got a number of newcomers racing today, and chatting to some of those in the paddock is Barry.
So Macaulay, great to see you on the grid there. I believe your first race ever coming up.
Yeah, it's quite challenging. It's my first time out. Completed my yards at Mallory 2-3 weeks ago now, so I've been chucked in the deep end. First time out on track. Never been in this track, never been in these cars. So my first time I was testing yesterday. First qualifying's just finished. It was really eventful. Getting to grips with the car, just finding tweaking setup. So yeah, it's all gone well so far.
You've done some short oval stuff way back at some stocks and so forth, but that's a sort of different sort of racecraft, isn't it? And there's no left-handers for a start.
Yeah, I've done many stocks. I started when I was 11, so from an early age I've always been involved in motorsport. Oval racing, yeah, it's a totally different ball game. It's quite relaxed here. It's nice to get a taste of circuit racing. I'm just here to get a bit more experience and see where things go, really.
So Sam, word has it on the streets this is your first race ever, and you've decided to come to one of the more technical circuits and have a go against one of the biggest grids.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, probably could have been a better choice on track selection, but we're having great fun. And there's no rain, which is, touch wood, if it stays like this, should be okay.
Actually, this is one of the best tracks out there, so I mean, if you can get around this, qualifying went pretty well.
Qualifying yesterday with the free practice, I was actually more confident, and then today, because they said the track was a bit slippy, and it was my first time on it, they said take it easy, keep the car in one piece, so that was the strategy, bringing it home.
And what tempted you into it? I mean, we're sort of mid-season-ish, so is this testing the water or just coming out for a bit of fun?
Very much. I'm a fair weather sportsman, so it had to be nice and sunny and warm, to just do a bit of sunbathing along with the racing. And I say, got some mates who have dragged me into it, and they said this was a good fun one to open with, basically.
Now, a good thing about this championship is it's a level playing field. So it's not about sort of checkbook racing, which is a phrase that's been used before, but every car is the same, so it's down to driver talent.
Yeah, which is the problem for me. So I mean, I was hoping there would be a little bit more, there's some more variables in it, but it seems like it is just talent pays the day. Yeah, so I'm happy with where I finished. I'm kind of not at the end, but 16th for me is a happy place to be right now.
Now, you've got a couple of friends on the grid. I'm not sure if that's an advantage or not, really.
They're too far away from me, so I'm not really going to see them during the race. I think they're 4th and 7th, respectively. So, yeah, I doubt I'll see them on the track, but yeah, I look forward to getting to their level one day.
Mark, been a little while since we've seen you. You weren't at the last round, but qualified 7th in this.
Yeah, I'm not too disappointed. It's yeah, I said I've only ever driven this once, about 12 years ago for about 20 minutes. So yeah, just learning it. But then again, there is a rookie ahead of us. So yeah, I suppose I should have done better. But yeah, saved it till the end, and yeah, I think we'll just have to race well.
I was looking at the timings. There's some 149s there. We're getting some fast laps in. I mean, it's not the easiest for the tracks to get used to quickly.
No, I was overdriving, definitely overdriving, and obviously right at the end I realised what I was doing, and back to, as daft as it sounds, you have to go slow to go fast. So yeah, we got it right at the end. So yeah.
So it's been a little while since we saw you. We saw you out at Donington, I think, end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of testing the water, keep your foot in with the championship. So how come we've got you back?
Just fancy some front-wheel drive action. I normally race rear-wheel drive, so it's nice to drive a different type of car. All the cars are similar speed, so it makes really great close racing, so it's just great to be back out again, really.
normally rear-wheel drive cars without a roof as well. It's Caterham's, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, that's right. So not only have we got a roof, so if it rains, it's happy days, but front-wheel drive, it's just a different kind of car to drive. It's really good fun.
Here with a colleague of yours as well, so no doubt some competitiveness within the grid as well.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we've swapped championships over the years, so he qualified ahead of me by 3/10, but it's the race that matters, isn't it?
Andrew, great to see you on the grid there. Now, Caterham racer normally. We're here with a colleague of yours and Q4, I think.
Yeah, P4. I was really happy with that. It's Cadwell Park. It's a pretty intimidating circuit. Yesterday in testing, I think 2 cars went off in front of me and into the barrier, so I was a little bit tentative. I didn't want to be the crashy one. But yeah, built my confidence up and felt good in quali this morning. Had a new car, because I blew my engine up in practice, but they're all really consistent. This one was exactly the same. Feels, yeah, so it does seem like it is just about talent. The cars are all prepped, so, you know, performance is all exactly the same.
Andrew Perry lining up a very impressive 4th on the grid. Pole position going to Simon Rudd from Gary Mitchell. Scott Parkin in 3rd. The other newcomers faring well in the championship as well. Samuel Matthews in 16th on the grid. Macaulay Underwood is in 17th. 21 strong car grid here for Cadwell Park, which is going to be a big challenge for them as Simon Watts brings the 23 car into position on the grid with a great view of Claire Avis' car to the inside, the black and yellow 71 machine. But we're getting ready for the first race of 2 from Cadwell Park for you today. Lights go out and it's a good start. The pole position, the white and blue car, the 42 machine of Simon Rudd, Gary Mitchell on the outside. The first corner is a left-hander, hence pole position being on the left hand here, and a super start by Scott Parkin, who goes up into 2nd. Gary Mitchell 3rd, Charlie Barr next up from Perry and Fortag as they go round into Charlie's for the first time. It's a good clean start by everybody, but it's the Cartech machine of pole position man Simon Rudd who leads them. Simon having a 3rd pole position on the bounce. John Baker there in the number 10 having his best qualifying today, which was 11th place, previously 14th, 17th, 12th and now 11th, so a good start to his weekend and improving all the time with his qualifying performance is John Baker on the outside line there, side by side with Ian Mitchell, those two having a good battle, but Baker goes a little bit wide, gets crossed up. A little bit of a tag by Richard Avis in the 77 car as John, I think, went back on track. Let's have a look at the onboard, gets an armful of lock, tries to control it. You can hear the clatter. I'm surprised we can't hear an expletive. Fair play for John for keeping his cool there, concentrating on what he's doing, wanting to get the car back on track, but a number of machines involved in that. Here's the view from Richard Avis. Nowhere he can go really other than on the grass, picking up damage as well. That could see him out of the race because he'll certainly want to check that the car is safe to carry on. I think he already knows he's got problems because he's pulling off over towards the tyre barrier. The red flag's coming out, not for that, but an issue with Ian Mitchell in the 27 car, who gets off the line but doesn't get too much further, so a problem for Ian Mitchell sadly, and that car is therefore going to be stranded by the pit wall. There it is. So a very quick decision by the race organisers to get things stopped here at Cadwell Park in the interests of safety. So a pretty dramatic first lap. John Baker, the 44-year-old from Kent, bringing his car back into the pit lane, I think into retirement. He will be a non-starter for our restart. Cars are on the grid, ready for the restart. Simon Rudd and Gary Mitchell. Was a slight change in position. Spencer Fortag moves up into 4th in the championship after qualifying. More of that anon because we're underway. It's another great start by Simon Rudd, who gets away. Is Gary Mitchell going to slide into 2nd this time, or is Scott Parkin going to repeat the original start? Yes, he does. Goes up the inside line. Andrew Perry and Charlie Barr side by side in car with Charlie. Andrew on the outside line in the Corbo machine, goes through, gets into 4th position. So it's Rudd, Parkin, Mitchell, Perry and Barr, the top 5. Out of Charlie's and onto Park straight for the first time. So they get a more settled run this time. Simon Walton having a look at the back end of Samuel Matthews' car. So Simon running well. Simon Walton in the number 9 car. 18th in qualifying for him today. Challenge on by the Powerflex car of Scott Parkin for the lead. Loses him a little bit of momentum. He didn't manage to pull that off. And now we've got Gary Mitchell all over the back of him. Mitchell third in the championship, moves up to 225 points. It's 5 points now, the difference between Parkin and Rudd in the championship. And Gary Mitchell all over the grass there. Andrew Perry having a quick look as well. Perry switching disciplines, of course, as you heard from Caterham Racing, into Focus Cup. This is a wonderful piece of racetrack here, as they will come out of the bus stop and up into the mountain. This is a real workout for these drivers around Cadwell Park. It's not the widest track in the world, but it is very, very technical, to use the cliche, as they go through Hall Bends now, heading up towards the hairpin, which is the penultimate corner on this 2.1869 mile circuit here. Nice shot of them going through the hairpin, downhill into Barn Corner, which is where they're coming out of now, downhill, then uphill again, across the start-finish line, and it's Simon Rudd doing a grand job at the moment of leading this one. Gary Mitchell back in third, Scott Parkin in second place. There is Mark Proctor. Great to have Mark back with us. Still 8th in the championship, despite not racing with us last time out at Castle Combe. And Mark, as you heard, surprising to hear, actually not that familiar with this track, but that's the way it goes with the various championships you race in. May or may not have a profile where they go to this kind of track regularly, but Mark hasn't got any experience here. This is the battle for the lead, and Rudd coming under pressure here. Good racing from the pair of them, giving each other room, and on the inside line it is still Simon Rudd that hangs on to it, but Scott Parkin in the Powerflex car putting the Cartech machine under pressure. The Midtex car of Gary Mitchell in third, wanting to join in as well. It's a fascinating battle for the lead here. Let's see what Scott Parkin can do. Very neat turn in there, out of the gooseneck, downhill into Mansfield Corner. Oh, Gary Mitchell there, closed right up as they went through Mansfield. That's to back out of that a little bit. I was going to say loses momentum, but he doesn't, and goes back into second place. Mitchell qualified second. Looks like a problem though for Scott Parkin. Parkin loses out. Another lap being ticked off for the race leader, Simon Rudd. Gary Mitchell in second place. Then it is Andrew Perry. We're looking a couple of places further back. Mark Proctor in the Power Max 66. Up ahead of Spencer Fortag. Spencer now is, I reckon, 2 points clear of Lewis Ryan in the championship. In fourth place, and Scott Parkin finds a way through. Was there space there? Probably not, but he made space, and Charlie Barr is going to come through as well. So Charlie Barr up into fourth, or is he? Let's go on board with Andrew Perry. Look to the right. There is Charlie Barr. We're on the countdown markers coming into Park Corner. The right-hander, and Barr is going to have the line. Takes fourth place. Physical stuff. Who says that you can't overtake at Cadwell with a little bit of determination, maybe a little bit of rubbing? You can do that. But we are seeing it. It's a fascinating race to watch here. So it's still Simon Rudd from Gary Mitchell, Scott Parkin now third, Charlie Barr fourth from Andrew Perry. Andrew in the Corvo car, in car with him again. As a Caterham driver, will be used to being passed, but also repassing people by the very nature of Caterham racing. So he won't give up for sure. Here's the Cartech machine of the race leader. And the car's getting a little bit of clear air as they come up over the mountain into Hall Bends. For me, very reminiscent of Crystal Palace racetrack, which if you've ever visited it, you'll know what I mean. The Crystal Palace track long gone, an occasional sprint held there these days, of course, but wouldn't it be great to have racing on that sort of venue again? And out of the race, that's Simon Watts in the Amazon car. I think it looks like curtains for Simon Watts, very sadly. Truck runners coming across the line again. You've got to say that Scott Parkin is getting clear. Championship leader Scott Parkin, 5 points clear of Simon Rudd by my maths after qualifying today. Simon Watts extricates himself from the car, or in English, gets out of the car and confirms the retirement. So some good battling going on a little bit further back. Simon Walton up ahead of Ian Mitchell. Simon's actually come up from 19th on the grid, so making good strides, good lap times as well from Simon Walton here. A little bit of a challenge on here. Branko Kibrowski dives down on the inside line of Russ Ollivant, so another Caterham racer pass there. Good to see Russ Ollivant back, was with us last year, as you heard in the interviews with Barry prior to start of this race. Not finished though, Russ. Again, you say these Caterham races are very resilient. They'll take a pass, but equally they'll fight back. And Branko Kibrowski under pressure. Simon Walton having a look there to see if he can get through and pass Russ Ollivant. Here's the climb up the mountain, very much uphill. It's a fair old steep run, and I've got to say it looks less steep on the camera than it is in real life. Meanwhile, Simon Rudd still clear of Gary Mitchell. Mitchell actually on his best lap, very slightly quicker. Still Scott Park in third. Charlie Barr, for my money, maybe closing in a little bit and set to perhaps challenge for a podium. So let's have a quick think about championship points. It will be 30 points for Simon Rudd if he stays on for the win, and 23 for Scott Park in third place. So I reckon that will put, after race one, provisional championship leader Simon Rudd, if things stay the way they are at the moment, just to try and give you a little perspective on how things are changing around. There is the race leader, Simon Rudd, looking for a second win of the season here. Charlie Barr chasing a podium at the moment, the driver of the 37 car, the 28-year-old from Leicestershire, won the opening race at Silverstone. So plenty of different race-winning drivers in this championship. We've got the reverse grid race coming up for you a little bit later on as well. And Simon Walton still making progress, has caught Branko Kibrowski. So a battle between these two. Branko, the Macedonian, has only finished outside the top 10 once so far this year. Quick driver in his own right. Simon Walton up from 19th on the grid. Too far back, I think, at the moment to make a move. Now, realistically, the move is probably going to come on the first half of any lap, because you tend to get a little bit more space, maybe getting that run down the home straight into Coppice, the first corner, and then along Park Straight is typically where you're going to make a pass. I'm not sure if Simon is getting any closer at the moment. Out of Hall Bends and into Barn Corner, closing up again, and he's thinking about the move here, I'm sure of that. Downhill, again, not that much space here, but he might try and just get a little bit of momentum into Coppice. The inside line at the moment, which is the left-hand side of the track as you look at the screen, is being covered by Branko at the moment. And when we get side on camera-wise, you can see that Branko Kibrowski responding well, getting away from Simon Walton. Back with the race leader though, here is Simon Rudd, looking pretty comfortable at the moment. Gary Mitchell in second. Gary, of course, will be in the mix to try and close things up championship-wise and maybe get up towards second, get a little bit closer to Scott Parkin. In car with Gary riding the curbs, doing a good job in second place at the moment. And these two clear at the moment, well clear of third place. So this race very much about those two drivers. Rudd doing the most important thing, really, you have to say, was getting off the line and getting clear of anything behind. Gary Mitchell had that momentary drop down into third position, but got back into second, and he's very much on the case, and as I say, on his best lap, equal to, if not better than, the race leader, as Simon Walton closes again. Branko Kibrowski coming up into the mountain, gets his nose alongside, he's having a look. This is not one of the traditional passing places in any formula here at Cadwell Park, but Simon Walton is ripping up the knowledge book here and having a look wherever he can. Closes up, wonderful in-car shots, and you can hear the noise that the cars make as they go over the bumps of this place. It's closing up for the lead, isn't it? Gary Mitchell really has got his head down, and these very slightly faster laps just nibbling into the race lead of Simon Rudd, who is still out front. We can see the chasers behind. Rudd here is now going to start maybe looking in his mirrors a little bit, seeing that red Mintex car closing in. So he might have to start driving up a little bit more defensively. Back with Simon Walton chasing Branko Kibrowski. Branko closing up as well. Branko runs a little bit wide there, I think, going into the... and runs wide. There is a gap. And look at that through the inside line. Simon Walton's got the inside for the first part of Hall Bends. I have never, I don't think, seen a pass there at Cadwell Park. Certainly not in this type of saloon car racing. Very good move by Simon Walton. Let's have a look at it again. I think Branko lost a little bit of momentum by going wide there. Simon Walton teed him up on the inside line, had a good run into that corner, knew what he was going to do. As I say, I've not seen too many saloon car passes there. And Simon Walton has just got the fastest lap of the race as well. It's going to be, if he holds on to that, the first time he's done that, I think, in the championship. Charlie Barr, though, 4th place. There is Charlie in the 37 car. Simon Rudd still leads. Gary Mitchell in 2nd. Scott Park in 3rd. Charlie Barr with a little bit of breathing space over Andrew Perry, who is in 5th place after those passes earlier on. Still a battle on for the lead. Gap back to 3rd. Here is Scott Park in. Are we going to see the championship lead seeded here? Remember, we've got the reverse grid race, which might change things around again at the end of the day, so we'll have to keep a very close eye on that. It's going to be between Parkin and Rudd for the championship lead for sure. With Gary Mitchell in the mix as well, but one DNF could certainly change things around completely. Andrew Perry at back of shot, still in 5th place and running well. Mark Proctor is in 6th, and at the moment we'll assume pole position for race 2. Mitchell still piling the pressure on. Mitchell's best lap, 1:48.3, 1:48.4 for Simon Rudd, the race leader, who negotiates the mountain for the last time. Up into Hall Bends, turns to the right, turns to the left through the picturesque trees in towards the hairpin, which is where our camera is here. Camera on the outside, so it doesn't look too much like a hairpin. Slight downhill run into Barn Corner, which is the last corner. Gary Mitchell getting somewhat closer as the checkered flag beckons, but I think it's going to be a win for Simon Rudd, who will cross the line now and take his 2nd win of the season. Simon Rudd, the man from Maidstone, takes the win. Gary Mitchell 2nd, 3rd place goes to Scott Parkin. Charlie Barr is 4th. Andrew Perry in 5th place. Mark Proctor will take 6th position. Here is Simon Walton, who has gained an incredible 10 places from his starting slot. 9th position for Simon Walton, with that wonderful overtake that we saw as well. So your top 6, Simon Rudd, the race winner there. Gary Mitchell in 2nd, Scott Parkin and Charlie Barr. Andrew Perry next from Mark Proctor. Spencer Fortag in 7th from Lewis Ryan and Simon Walton. Branko Kibrowski ahead of Russ Oliphant and Ian Mitchell. Then Simon Waugh. Macaulay Underwood 14th from Robert Morgan. Samuel Matthews and Claire Avis in 17th. Let's hear from the winners.
Simon, great race there. Both you and Gary, you got a lead there by about 10 or 12 car lengths.
Yeah, I got a good start initially. Scott and Gary they obviously got good starts as well for the first one, and managed to keep them behind. And then obviously we had the red flag, and then the second restart. So I managed to get another good start. And on lap 1, Scott sort of hit me on the back, and he lost a bit of drive. So Gary then got in front, and it gave us an opportunity then to pull away. So I was thankful for that, because I think it would have been very difficult trying to keep both of them behind for 15 minutes.
Gary, great race that. 2-horse race for much of it, and plenty of action.
Yeah, I didn't really realise towards the end that we were galloping off a little bit, but no, I wasn't going to let Simon have that one easily. I was just waiting for a little mistake, and I knew I could keep up with him, but I just didn't have the extra pace just to nudge past him anywhere. So it was more, let's harass the life out of him and see what he does, really. But no, the car's been fantastic, and I really like this circuit as well, and I think my qualifying in race 1's just shown that. So.
Scott, 3rd place, great result overall to get a podium. Obviously it's good for points. Now you started this event, we're actually leading the championship, but that's going to tighten up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. It's not the exact result that I wanted. I knew that if I got a good start, I'd be able to get up there. So I had a really good start, got up to 2nd behind Simon, and bumped into the back of him at the bottom of the hill as he was turning left. Locked up the brakes a little bit. And then had limp mode, so I hit the rev limiter, the car dropped into limp mode, so then I got swamped. Gary got round me, Perry got round me, so then it were sort of on the back foot then, having to push probably harder than I wanted to try and get back there.
A very warm welcome back to Cadwell Park. We're looking forward to round 8 of the championship coming up shortly. In the meantime, between races, a lot of work to do for the championship organisers to get all of the cars ready for the grid for race 2. For the drivers, a chance to unwind, discuss what went right, maybe what went wrong in race number 1. Before we go to the grid though, Barry caught up with Tony Bucknell from ABS.
Tony, great to see you here at Cadwell Park here for round 4. Now, firstly, thank you, title sponsor, ABS Motorsport. How did you first become involved with the championship?
Well, when Simon first came up with the idea of the Focus Cup, we've already designed the Audi TTs for him. We're involved with the BTCC, and we already had an aero kit for the BTCC Focus. So it was a simple tweak to the kit, bring it into the line for what the championship required, and it just made a lot of sense. So you know, Simon put the idea across to us, and yeah, we want to be involved. It's an up-and-coming championship, and as you see today, it's a really good growing championship.
Now, to all racing enthusiasts, ABS Motorsport is a well-known brand. To new viewers, just tell us a little bit more about it and what you do.
Okay, well, this is our 31st year. So we started off with the Minis, which are also here as well today. Been in touring car since 2007. Yeah, we started in the BTCC, and that's our main business. But off the back of that, we do Focus Cup, we do the VW Cup, we've got cars racing worldwide now. So the logo is quite well known throughout the world for race fans, so that people know that. General public, obviously, brand isn't too well known.
So where are you based in the UK?
Okay, we're literally 10 miles from here. We're on the old RAF Binbrook site where Memphis Belle was filmed. So we're up on there on the unit. We're obviously Lincolnshire based, but we obviously ship worldwide. But Cadwell is our home circuit. This is where a lot of our customers race. This is where a lot of championships come to. So yeah, it's nice to keep it in Lincolnshire. Yeah.
So if people want to know more about your range, what's the best way of doing that?
Okay, we've got the website absmotorsport.net, and obviously we're on Facebook.
Great to see you. Thanks very much indeed for being the title sponsor support, and enjoy the rest of the day. So your first race ever out of the way, how did that actually feel?
It was really good. I seen there was a few issues on the start. The yellow flags waved. It's never a good sign when there's a car stopped on the grid. So everyone was down out of the way. 2 wheels on the grass, managed to keep it. 2 abreast going up the first corner of Coppice, and then going towards Gooseneck there was another car topped the grass, started spinning, came across the track. I was right behind, hit another car, so the only option I had to do was to dart onto the grass, get out of the way. So yeah, first couple of laps was interesting, to say the least. But finished it. Had a few overheating issues following Simon Wall. Really good, but the pace is there. Beat me quali laps, so see what race 2 brings.
So Branko, it's been a little while since we caught up with you. Now that race 1 was pretty exciting. Simon was on your tail there, and it was pretty action-packed. What was it like from the driving seat?
I ruined my qualification this morning. Actually, I have 1:50.50, and I went with -2 seconds on the dash. And I just went off the track in the half of the track, and I wasted the pole or maybe one of first 3 positions. I don't feel comfortable with that one, and next one was I have suspended few times, I think, because of track limits, and this was what it left, 13 positions. So yeah, it's okay, but it's very different. To be honest, yesterday on the free practice when I went first time out, I felt like I'm in some game, you know, it was not real. This track is amazing, it's something special. And I was impressed as soon as I found out that Ayrton Senna was racing here as well, so something big for me as well.
Many other greats have raced on this track over the years as well, and we might see another great pass as we saw from race number 1 in this one too. This is the reverse grid. Remember, the top 6 drivers get reversed. Mark Proctor starting on pole position, Simon Rudd the winner starting down in 6th position. However, the drivers reverse in groups of 6, so P12 Ian Mitchell starts 7th on the grid, and we'll see Claire Avis moving up to 13th on the grid. So 3 groups, all getting a reverse. It's a really good inclusive way of doing a reverse grid race. And no more time to talk because the lights have gone out and we're underway with Mark Proctor side by side with Andrew Perry. And it's Proctor that gets away well. Here is Andrew Perry going to the outside line. The ex-Caterham racer, first meeting in Focus Cup, has a very good run around the outside line, and Mark Proctor is down into second place. Coming up as well is Charlie Barr. Charlie Barr's gone through into second. Proctor down to third. In car with Simon Rudd. Scott Parkin up ahead. Simon Rudd, the new championship leader. The Powerflex car runs a little bit wide there, maybe a bit of understeer, perhaps too much momentum carried through Charlie's, the second corner, but a good clean start by everyone. Let's hope I don't put the curse of the commentator on. It's the Corvo car out front. Charlie Barr, who finished in 4th place, so super start from him. Parkin's on the grass. Scott Parkin, you've got to say, any chance of getting the championship lead back? Lewis Ryan is off as well. Any chance of getting the championship lead back? You can see lots of cement dust on track from the Sports and Saloon Championship that just had its qualifying session before this race. An engine letting go in a big way, as you can see, and sadly a big long run of fluid around the circuit which the marshals had to deal with. It led to a little bit of a delay between sessions, but fluid everywhere. Not a problem now. It's not going to be extra slippery now, but the visibility when the cars go over that dust is going to cause a bit of a problem. First driver to go through it, of course, is Andrew Perry. So his second race, 5th in race number 1. Front row start here. Scott Parkin trying to get back on the case. Again, my maths championship-wise, because you won't get official points until racing is concluded, but I reckon now that Simon Rudd leads the championship on 280 points. We're on board with Simon, chasing the man who chased him in race number 1, Gary Mitchell. So 280 points by my maths. Scott Parkin 2 points down, 278. The gap between the two of them was 12 points coming into the meeting, so that's been eroded by qualifying and race 1. And this is where, if you get a fastest lap, those extra 5 points for fastest lap can make all the difference. So Parkin might find himself further back, but if he can get fastest lap, he'll be dead chuffed about that. And Gary Mitchell having a look at Mark Proctor, but Mark Proctor is a tough driver to pass. Still pretty much learning this track. It's obviously one thing to know what the track looks like, but Mark familiarising himself with this track, as indeed most of these races will be that are Focus Cup drivers. Our first look at the track. Simon Walton incidentally set the lap record. We've not seen race 1 times being beaten by race 2 lap times generally so far this season, so that lap record could stay with Simon as we go away from here. Still riding on board with Gary Mitchell, who from his interview you can tell absolutely loved race 1. That cement dust for me is perhaps going to be a bit of a spoiler in this race. Simon Rudd trying to get back on. So just going to the championship positions, Gary Mitchell still 3rd on 251, and Spencer Fortag maintained 4th place ahead of Lewis Ryan, but only 3 points between him and Lewis at the moment, so it's all still very close in the championship. The drivers of course all settling in nicely now, and Gary Mitchell will want to try and pass Mark Proctor, but Mark, who has raced at the very top level of British motorsport, British Touring Car Championship driver of course, is not going to be an easy driver to pass, particularly when you're in evenly matched cars, as these are. In car with Macaulay Underwood. Didn't realise that Macaulay was an ex-oval driver. So interesting to know that he's making the move into circuit racing, and that is Ian Mitchell, who is off the track. The Momo car pulls off and into retirement on lap 2. That's a shame to lose Ian Mitchell, so a 12th position on his return to the championship, retirement in race 2. I hope we see him later on in the year. So Mitchell chasing Proctor. This is fascinating between these two. Procky look mid-track here, not giving any room at all. And look at the eyes in the mirror. Mitchell absolutely focused on the car in front. Little bit of a look across the track as he went into the right-hander to maybe look at the exit. Very close to Proctor, hounding Mark Proctor. Runs a little bit wide here, but Mark will not be put off at all in the power-maxed car. Let's see whether... Oh, one-handed there, very briefly from Gary Mitchell. Robert Morgan in the mix there, has a moment on the grass. Richard Davis does as well. Richard, of course, involved in that early skirmish in race 1. And back with us, 7th in the championship coming into the race. I think might maybe have lost that to Mark Proctor. check my points down that far. Mark Proctor, of course, 6 in race number 1, which would have been 19 points. So yeah, I think Proctor probably has managed to close up on that as we ride on board again with Simon Rudd in the 42. Down through the hairpin, there you go. Meanwhile, a bit further back, Simon Watts in the 23. Simon working hard, ever present this year. Simon Watts, the only retirement he's had was that first race of the day, and that was on the back of his best ever result for this season, race 2 at Cadwell Park, where he took 12th position. So Simon, I know, was disappointed with qualifying. His best qualifying 15th, 21st today. Gary Mitchell now a little bit further up, a little bit further back rather, because you can see we've got Simon Rudd ahead of him. Branko Kaprowski is right behind him, and Mark Proctor, we'll look in his mirrors and see Simon Rudd there in 4th place. So the championship leader in 4th position. There again is Richard Avis chasing Robert Morgan. So let's see what Richard can do, ever present in the championship, and gutted to have that. I was going to say DNF, technically it was a non-start in the second start of the race, but we'll record it as a DNF, although they did go the full distance in the second race. And Richard getting some momentum here, closing up. The dust is settling literally on the track, so we're not getting quite as much being kicked up now, which is good news, and a good battle between the 7s here. Robert Morgan, the man from Melton Mowbray, still there. 8th position, his best of the year. Race 2 again at Castle Combe. So, as we mentioned, this is a difficult track to overtake on, particularly when you've got a one-make championship and all the prep, and over and above this being a one-make championship, all the preparation done by the same team. So all the cars are measured to make sure that everything is the same. So it is entirely down to the driver, and the driver making a move here is Branko Kaprowski, who goes through. Great move. So Simon Rudd now takes up the mantle of challenging for 3rd place. Mark Proctor is there at the moment in the 66 car. The Paramax car holds on. And because Mark is defensive, it's bringing the other drivers into it. Branko Kaprowski in yellow, Gary Mitchell in red is next up. Simon Rudd trying absolutely everything. Now remember, these cars, not only is this a one-make championship, but all the cars prepared by the same team. So it's really taking the idea of a one-make championship one step further. It is all about the drivers at the end of the day. Simon still trying to put the pressure on. Simon, championship leader. It is still Andy Perry out front from Charlie Barr in 2nd place. Charlie looking for a 3rd podium of the season. The podiums have been spread out amongst quite a few drivers in the championship this year. Through shot goes Lewis Ryan. There is Dale Jameson going through as well. Dale making the start in this one. Macaulay Underwood is next up. Macaulay, I think, should be on for a better result. He was 14th in race number 1, and of course the reverse grid, when you've got the groups of 6 all being reversed, it means that if you finish in, say, 7th, if you finish, say, in 12th position, that's the back of the second group. You come up to the front as we've got a challenge on for the lead now. For 3rd position. Simon Rudd challenging for 3rd. Mark Proctor, though, defending well. So Proctor hangs on to 3rd place. Coming back to this idea of all of the groups of 6 places being reversed, it means that everybody gets a chance to improve their confidence over race 2 and indeed carry that confidence forward into later rounds. So it's a championship regulation, I think, that is to be applauded. Here's Simon Rudd again on the attack. Looks to the outside line here. Might get a better run out of the corner, but he's got Branko Kaprowski in yellow, large in his mirrors as well. Branko trying to chase down the championship leader. So, 3-way battle for 3rd place. And Mark Proctor, used to soaking up pressure, not afraid to show a little bit of a gap there either. Procky knows that he's got a good line through here. Mark looking for a second podium in the championship. And bear in mind, he didn't do Cadwell Park, but has always been up the front, the East Yorkshireman. So let's have a look. You can see the gap developing between first and second as Mark Proctor does have to defend to a certain degree to hold on to third place. The leaders away and down the road. It's Andrew Perry from Charlie Barr. So Charlie looking at Andy Perry, I believe the former Caterham Academy champion, has many race wins higher up the Caterham ladder as well. There are lots of different levels of Caterham racing that you can do. So a very talented driver, 38 years of age, is Andy Perry. Is he going to maybe look at a future in saloon car racing? He's done a heck of a lot of sports car racing. As Simon Rudd has another look here. Let's see whether he can fox a mistake out of Mark Proctor. At the moment, Mark will not be moved at all. This is going to be a good result for Mark Proctor. A third place in the offing here at Cadwell Park. So with Simon Rudd in fourth, he's going to take the championship lead forward to our next round, incidentally, which is at Walton Park on the 24th of July, barring any problems. Have a quick look back. Scott Parkin's coming back into the mix though as well. Scott Parkin in the Powerflex car. I was starting to think about championship lead opening up. It's only 2 points by my reckoning coming into this race, and Scott Parkin is coming back into it. Look for the Powerflex car is at the back of the 4 cars that were on shop there, so he's not losing too many points. Meanwhile, back with Richard Davis having a super battle with Robert Morgan. This is for 14th place. Simon Walton is the car ahead of them. Simon, the driver who made the most passes in race number 1, 10 places gained on his original grid position. And Richard Davis, always good to show this is a mid-order battle. And wherever you look, there are drivers that are enjoying their racing here at Cadwell. But it's Robert Morgan holding sway at the moment over Richard Davis, both of them having had it at the moment on the grass earlier on. Having recovered from that, it's the safety devices car that holds sway at the moment, but Richard Davis beginning to close in. Meanwhile, Andrew Perry crosses the line once again. Charlie Barr is in second place. Charlie setting some good laps at the moment. He closes in a little bit, but then Andy Perry seems to respond to that. Mark Proctor responding to Simon Rudd's challenge. Again, Mark taking the racing line as he goes through Charlie's. Although I say Mark's defending, I suppose to a certain extent he is, but this isn't an overly defensive drive from Mark Proctor. He looks fairly comfortable in that third place at the moment. I'm sure he'd much prefer to be further down the road, and Simon Rudd would probably like to be so as well. So Park straight, which isn't straight and it isn't flat either now, as Branko Kaprowski looks up the inside line. Branko Kaprowski passes the championship leader to go into fourth place. I'm going to have a go now at Mark Proctor, says Branko. Following the wheel tracks of his hero, Ayrton Senna, that he mentioned pre-race in the interview, and challenging hard, the Macedonian, working hard. He's passed the championship. That is how competitive Focus Cup racing is. And now look at, they've got this fascinating scenario. The 2 leaders come through, Andrew Perry from Charlie Barr, but we've got first and second in the championship now together on track here in race 2. Fascinating stuff. There is Scott Parkin, who led the championship coming into the meeting, and Simon Rudd, who has snuck the championship lead from him by 2 points. Now we're hearing that Branko Kaprowski may well have a penalty for track limits. He's being warned about it. You remember he mentioned that in qualifying he had track limits, so he could find himself losing position, but he'll take where he is on track now for sure. Across the line we go again, on to lap 9. This will be the last lap of this timed race here at Cadwell Park. Race 8 in the 2021 campaign for Focus Cup. And it could be a debut win for Andrew Perry. Focus Cup rookie, but certainly no motorsport rookie. Charlie Barr in second place. Charlie Barr's just set a purple sector 1, so this is good for Charlie Barr. Remember, 5 championship points for the driver that gets fastest lap could make the difference between title or non-title at the end of the year. Mark Proctor still there in third place. Branko Kaprowski being chased now by Simon Rudd, who's got the work to do. Quick look in the mirror for Simon to check where his championship challenger is, and the answer to that is that Scott Parkin is behind him, but Parkin's got his mirrors full of Lewis Ryan. 5th in the championship, might pass Spencer Fortag again for that position, points-wise. I haven't got time to check the points coming to go around this last lap, but certainly for aficionados of the championship, as Branko Kibrowski takes a wide line there to gain as much speed as he can as they head up towards the mountain and try and challenge Mark Proctor. Perry and Barr are through in lead position. Proctor still there in 3rd place under pressure from Kibrowski. Parkin closes in again on Simon Rudd. Lewis Ryan in the mix as well. This reverse grid race very close indeed for 3rd onwards, close for the lead. And here is the view from the race leader. Andrew Perry turns neatly, coolly, calmly out of Barn Corner, down the hill and towards the checkered flag here at Cadwell Park. It is going to be a win on his debut in Focus Cup for Andrew Perry. Charlie Barr 2nd, and fastest lap for Charlie Barr on the last lap. 5 points for him. Here's Simon Rudd. Branko Kibrowski still chasing Mark Proctor. Across the line they go. Proctor takes the podium, 2nd podium. He's delighted with that. Proctor in 3rd place. Simon Rudd will follow Branko Kibrowski, then Scott Parkin and Lewis Ryan. Dale Jameson next. Gary Mitchell in 9th place in the number 44 car. What a race we've had. 2 great races here at Cadwell Park. In the final result, Branko Kibrowski did pick up a penalty. That drops Branko down into 8th place as we see our race winner, Andrew Perry, celebrating with the race fans and marshals here. Perry's win from Charlie Barr, Mark Proctor, Simon Rudd next from Scott Parkin and Lewis Ryan. Dale Jameson 7th from Branko Kibrowski, then Gary Mitchell and Macaulay Underwood in 10th. Spencer Fortag next from Russ Oliver, Simon Walton, Robert Morgan, Richard Avis and Simon Watts. Samuel Matthews 17th from Claire Avis and Simon Waugh.
So you're going to have to give up these Caterhams and come and have a go, aren't you?
Yeah, this is, I mean, it took me a while to start having success with Caterhams, and happy days, can't believe it.
He was on your case though, wasn't he?
Oh my God, yeah. I got lucky, got into 1st place because I think whoever it was missed a gear shift. I thought, I'm not going to keep this. I'm going to either make a mistake or he's just going to come up on me and bully me. But yeah, I was hoping for red flag, safety car, whatever, just so I could keep my 1st, but I managed to keep him at bay, which I was quite happy with. It was like a 30-metre gap the whole time. I made a few mistakes, but then he made exactly the same mistakes after me. So yeah, it's good, happy.
Congratulations, great racing there, some great battles. Now 2nd over across the line there, and of course in the championship points so far, 1st.
Yeah, it was a good race. Started 3rd, but on the 2nd corner I was into 2nd, and then I was keeping my fingers crossed thinking, I hope everyone starts pressuring Mark so me and Andy can break away. That's exactly what happened. Everyone's saying they've never seen a Focus so wide because he did such a good job. Every lap I was seeing him just get further and further away. Couldn't do anything with Andy in front of me. I was right behind him, exactly the same pace, hoping he made a mistake because there was a load of oil out on the track, but unfortunately for me he didn't. So very happy with 2nd. Obviously, yeah, best points out of the guys that are fighting for the championship. Big points scored today, and gained a lot because obviously Kuma had a bit of a rough time. So yeah, very happy to be back on the podium and yeah, back in the fight.
Well, if anyone fought tooth and nail for a position, that's got to be you on that one. That was a fantastic race overall.
Yeah, I mean, I really, if I hadn't got the podium, I wouldn't have slept tonight. I'm disappointed. I should have won the race. I mean, I got the start perfect. Like a complete idiot, left it in 3rd gear, didn't get 4th soon enough. Lost it on the revs, and yeah, big mistake. But I am a granddad a couple of months ago. Beautiful granddaughter, Senna's granddaughter Sophia, and my daughter Claudia's got another one on the way in November. So I think I'm starting to show my age, and yeah. But yeah, so I made it very difficult for myself. But I wasn't going to give a podium up, and just had to go use all the years of experience of making a wide car and defending.
Simon Rudd, the new championship leader by just 3 points from Scott Parkin. Gary Mitchell maintains 3rd ahead of Lewis Ryan, and Spencer Fortag with Charlie Barr in 6th. Thanks for watching today. Join us next time at Walton Park.